You are not the sum of your surroundings, but they shape you more than you realize. Every space you inhabit, every person you spend time with, every message you consume, they all influence your thoughts, your beliefs, your actions. And if your environment is working against you, even the strongest willpower won't be enough to keep you moving forward. Because psychology proves something powerful. Context drives behavior. You don't fail because you lack discipline. You fail because your world makes discipline harder than it needs to be. Think about the moments when you've fallen off track, when motivation vanished, when old habits pulled you back in. Were you surrounded by support, or were you immersed in distractions that made change nearly impossible? Because here's the truth, you can't always control how you feel, but you can control what you expose yourself to. You can design a life that makes success easier and failure harder. And that is where real transformation begins. Your brain is constantly reacting to its environment. Social proof tells you what is normal. Visual cues trigger action or distraction. The people around you set the standard for what is acceptable. That's why surrounding yourself with those who inspire you, not just emotionally but behaviorally, is one of the most powerful choices you can make. If you want discipline, align with disciplined people. If you want growth, immerse yourself in spaces that encourage it. If you want peace, remove the noise that pulls you into chaos. But it's not just about people. It's about everything that fills your world. Your workspace, your phone, your daily routines, even the way your home is arranged. A cluttered space breeds a cluttered mind. An unstructured schedule leads to wasted time. Endless scrolling replaces deep work. And over time, these small influences compound into massive results, either pulling you toward your goals or dragging you away from them. So ask yourself, does your environment support who you want to become, or does it reinforce who you're trying to leave behind? Because change doesn't happen in isolation, it happens within a system. And when you build that system intentionally, effort becomes easier, discipline becomes natural, growth becomes inevitable. Start now. Or remove one distraction, add one reminder of your goal, set up your space so that doing the right thing feels effortless. Fill your feed with voices that challenge and uplift you. Limit exposure to anything that drains your energy without giving value in return, because you do not have to fight yourself every step of the way. You don't need to force motivation when your world already pushes you forward. Design your life to support your best self and watch how quickly everything else falls into place. Because once your environment works for you instead of against you, nothing can stop your progress. And from that foundation, unstoppable momentum begins. You deserve kindness, especially from yourself. Yet when you stumble, when you fall short, when you make the same mistake for the 100th time, you respond with criticism instead of compassion. You punish yourself with harsh words, doubt your worth, and wonder why you can't just get it right. But here's the truth. Self-criticism does not build strength. It breaks it down. It erodes confidence, fuels anxiety, and keeps you trapped in cycles of fear and failure. And the more you beat yourself up, the harder it becomes to move forward. Psychology reveals something powerful. Self-compassion is one of the greatest tools for lasting growth. It is not about making excuses. It is not about avoiding responsibility. It is about treating yourself with the same understanding and support you would offer a close friend. Because if someone you love failed, would you shame them? Would you tell them they aren't good enough? Or would you remind them that mistakes are part of learning, that effort matters even when results fall short, that they are still worthy of love and progress? Exactly. So why do you hold yourself to a standard you would never impose on others? Why do you believe that being hard on yourself will somehow push you forward, when all it does is keep you stuck in guilt, shame, and self-doubt? The truth is, growth thrives in kindness, not cruelty. Every time you speak to yourself with compassion instead of condemnation, you create space for healing, learning, and transformation. So how do you begin? By changing the way you talk to yourself, by replacing the voice of judgment with one of encouragement. When you mess up, don't ask, "What's wrong with me?" Ask, "What can I learn from this?" When you feel overwhelmed, don't say, "I should be better by now." Say, "I am doing my best, and that is enough for today." When fear shows up, don't silence it with self-criticism. Acknowledge it, reassure yourself, remind yourself that courage isn't about feeling nothing. It's about moving forward anyway. Because you are human, and being human means failing. It means struggling. It means sometimes not knowing the answer. But it also means growing, healing, rising again. And every time you choose gentleness over punishment, you strengthen your resilience. You build emotional endurance. You give yourself permission to keep going, not because you've earned it through perfection, but simply because you are trying. So today, speak to yourself like someone you love, because you are worth that kindness. You are worth that belief. And most of all, you are worth the chance to grow without shame, to change without pressure, to become without self-destruction standing in the way. This is how you unlock unstoppable progress, not through punishment, but through compassion, not through harshness, but through understanding. And once you start leading with kindness to yourself first, everything begins to shift. Not everyone will support your journey, and that truth hurts. Some will question your choices. Others will dismiss your dreams. A few might even try to stop you outright. And when you face criticism, doubt, or rejection, it's easy to believe there's something wrong with you. But here's what no one tells you. Criticism often says more about the person giving it than the one receiving it. People project their own fears onto others. They limit those who dare to dream beyond what they themselves are willing to attempt. This is psychological projection in action. When someone attributes their own insecurities, doubts, or weaknesses onto you, if they fear failure, they'll warn you that you'll fail too. If they've given up on their own potential, they'll convince themselves that yours is an illusion. It's not personal, it's protection. They're not attacking you. They're defending themselves from the discomfort of seeing someone do what they're too afraid to try. But you don't have to carry their fear as your own. You don't have to let their words shape your belief. Because every time you allow criticism to stop you, you give away your power. You silence your voice to protect someone else's comfort. And that is not strength. That is surrender. You must learn to filter feedback. Separate what helps you grow from what only holds you back. Constructive criticism comes from a place of care, understanding, and experience. Toxic criticism comes from fear, insecurity, and resistance. One helps you rise. The other tries to pull you down. So ask yourself, does this criticism come from someone who has walked the path, or from someone who has never dared to take the first step? More importantly, ask yourself, who are you becoming? Not for them, not for approval, not for validation, but for yourself. Because the moment you decide that your growth matters more than others' opinions, something shifts. You stop seeking permission. You stop waiting for acceptance. You start walking forward even when the voices behind you grow louder. And the more you move, the less space their words take up. Distance weakens doubt. Action silences fear. Momentum builds confidence. And over time, what once felt crushing becomes background noise. Distant echoes of people who never truly understood your vision anyway. So keep going, even when they don't understand, even when they doubt, even when they try to stop you. Your journey is not theirs to control. It never was. It belongs to you and to the future version of yourself who will look back and thank you for not letting their words define your path. Because courage doesn't require applause. It only requires you to keep moving, and every step you take in the face of criticism proves something powerful. You are not ruled by fear. You are not controlled by others. You are not stopping. Not now. Not ever. You are not just living a life. You are building something. Every choice, every action, every moment of effort is shaping the person you are becoming and the future you are creating. But without direction, effort becomes exhaustion. Without meaning, discipline fades. And without purpose, even the strongest willpower can collapse under the weight of uncertainty. That's why you must ask yourself, what am I truly working toward? Not just goals, not just achievements, but the deeper reason behind it all. What legacy do you want to leave? Who do you want to serve? Why does any of this matter to you? Purpose is not found in grand declarations or dramatic moments. It is discovered in the quiet truth of what makes your heart beat faster, what makes you keep going when everything inside you wants to stop. It's the reason you wake up before dawn, the force that keeps you pushing through pain, the fire that fuels you when motivation disappears. Psychology confirms that people with a clear sense of purpose live longer, healthier, and more fulfilled lives. Because purpose doesn't just drive action. It gives meaning to struggle, strength to perseverance, and resilience to setbacks. You don't need to change the world to have purpose. You only need to know why your life matters to you. Whether it's raising a child with love, creating something that outlives you, helping even one person feel less alone, or simply becoming the best version of yourself, that is enough. That is powerful. That is meaningful. And when your daily actions align with that truth, effort transforms from burden to mission. So ask yourself again, what is my purpose? Is it strong enough to carry me through failure? Is it deep enough to fuel me when nothing feels easy? If your answer isn't clear yet, that's okay. Purpose is not always loud. Sometimes it whispers. Sometimes it takes time to uncover. But once you find it, everything changes. Goals become stepping stones. Hardship becomes growth. And every small step forward becomes part of something bigger than yourself. This is how you unlock unstoppable momentum, by knowing why you're doing what you're doing, by grounding yourself in something greater than temporary success, by connecting your daily efforts to a vision so powerful that no setback, no doubt, no fear can knock you off course. So take a breath, reconnect with your truth, remind yourself of the reason you began this journey, and let that purpose become your compass. Let it guide every decision. Let it silence the noise. Let it be the reason you keep going even when the path is unclear. Because purpose is not just about reaching a destination. It's about becoming someone worth remembering, someone who lived fully, loved deeply, and never stopped moving forward. And once you walk with purpose, nothing can stop you. You don't need more time, you need more courage. Because the truth is, everyone wants a better future, but few are willing to pay the price for it today. You want success, but not the struggle that comes before it. You want peace, but not the discomfort of facing your fears. You want change, but not the effort required to make it last. And so you wait for the perfect moment, for the right conditions, for the fear to disappear. But here's what no one tells you. Delayed gratification is not about sacrifice. It's about belief. It's about choosing long-term fulfillment over short-term comfort. And every time you do that, you prove something powerful to yourself. You are in control. The human mind is wired for instant rewards. Your brain evolved to seek pleasure and avoid pain, not because it wanted you to grow, but because it wanted you to survive. And that's why waiting feels so hard. That's why discipline feels like punishment. Because your instincts tell you to take what feels good now, even if it costs you later. But real strength isn't about giving in to what feels easy. It's about choosing what matters most. Even it hurts. Even when progress feels slow. Even when no one else sees it. Every time you say no to a distraction, you strengthen your mental muscle. Every time you choose work over escape, growth over comfort, effort over ease, you build the kind of inner power that lasts. Because delayed gratification doesn't just lead to success, it builds resilience. It teaches you that you can endure discomfort, that you can resist temptation, that you can trust yourself to follow through. And once you develop that trust, nothing can stop you. So ask yourself, what are you avoiding because it feels too hard? What dream have you put off because the path requires patience? What version of yourself could you become if you stopped waiting for things to feel easy and started embracing the process? Because here's the secret. The people who achieve extraordinary things aren't necessarily smarter, luckier, or more talented than anyone else. They simply made one choice again and again, that they would rather feel discomfort now than regret later. They showed up when they didn't feel like it. They kept going when everything inside them wanted to quit. They embraced the grind because they knew that every small step was building something bigger. And so can you. This is your life. No one else is living it for you. And every day you choose immediate pleasure over lasting fulfillment, you move further from the person you're meant to be. So stop waiting for motivation. Stop waiting for certainty. Stop waiting for permission. The future you want is already within reach. All it takes is the courage to delay gratification long enough to earn it. Because the moment you decide that what you want tomorrow is worth what you must endure today, everything changes. And from that decision, unstoppable momentum begins. Success is not a secret. It is not hidden in some forgotten book or locked behind the doors of privilege. It is built piece by piece, choice by choice, moment by moment, by people who understand one simple truth: success follows patterns. And those patterns are available to anyone willing to learn them. You don't need luck. You don't need perfect timing. You don't need to be born with talent. What you do need is to understand the psychology of achievement and align your mindset, habits, and actions with what truly drives results. Psychology identifies key traits that separate those who succeed from those who don't, and none of them are fixed at birth. Grit keeps you going when everything inside you wants to quit. Optimism fuels perseverance when setbacks threaten to knock you down. Adaptability allows you to pivot instead of breaking under pressure. Emotional intelligence helps you manage stress, build strong relationships, and stay focused under fire. These are not abstract ideas, they are skills. Skills you can develop, strengthen, master. Grit begins the moment you decide that giving up is not an option. It's not about never feeling tired, it's about continuing even when you are. It's not about never doubting, it's about moving forward anyway. Every time you push through discomfort, every time you show up when you don't feel like it, you grow more of this unshakable quality. And over time, grit becomes your default setting. Optimism isn't blind positivity. It's the belief that effort leads to change, that failure is not final, but a lesson in disguise. That no matter how hard things get, you have the power to influence your outcome. This mindset doesn't ignore pain, it refuses to let pain define the future. And studies show that optimistic people not only achieve more, but recover faster from setbacks because they see obstacles as temporary, not permanent. Adaptability is the quiet superpower of high achievers. Life does not go according to plan. No matter how carefully you map your path, something will always shift beneath your feet. The difference between those who rise and those who fall is their ability to adjust, to remain flexible, to find a new way forward when the old one disappears. Because success is not about avoiding change. It's about mastering it. And emotional intelligence, that is the bridge between talent and greatness. It's what lets you manage frustration instead of exploding. It's what allows you to communicate clearly instead of shutting down. It's what gives you self-awareness, empathy, and resilience in the face of pressure. And unlike IQ, emotional intelligence can be developed with practice, reflection, and intention. So ask yourself, what version of yourself must you become to achieve the life you want? What traits must you cultivate, or what habits must you build? Success is not a mystery. It is a formula. And once you understand the psychology behind it, you realize something powerful. You already have everything you need to begin. You already know what it takes to change your life, and yet something still holds you back. Not fear, not lack of knowledge, but the quiet belief that confidence must come first. That you need certainty before action. That self-belief must be fully present before you can move forward. But here's the truth. Confidence is not a prerequisite for action. It is the result of it. You don't wait until you feel ready. You act, and through that action, you build the courage you seek. Confidence is not born in a moment of perfect clarity. It is built in the moments when you choose to do something anyway. Every time you speak up despite the voice telling you to stay silent, every time you take a step even when doubt whispers in your ear, you prove to yourself that you are capable. And with each small victory, confidence grows. It doesn't arrive fully formed. It compounds like interest on a long-term investment. One decision at a time, one action at a time, one refusal to let fear decide your path. This is the psychology of self-efficacy. The idea that belief in your ability to succeed is not fixed, but developed through experience. You don't need to feel powerful to become powerful. You only need to start. The first time you attempt something difficult, you may fail. The second time, you may still struggle. But by the third, fourth, fifth time, something shifts. You begin to see patterns. You recognize your own resilience. You understand that effort leads to progress. And from that understanding, confidence is born. So stop waiting for the perfect version of yourself to appear before you begin. She does not exist. What exists is the version of you who shows up, who keeps going, who refuses to quit. That is where strength lives. That is where growth begins. And every time you choose to keep moving, even slightly, you reinforce that identity. Think about the person you want to become, someone bold, capable, unstoppable. That person is not waiting for permission. They are not hesitating. They are not held back by self-doubt. They are doing the work, taking the risk, embracing the unknown. And so can you, because confidence is not something you find. It is something you create through action, through repetition, through relentless forward motion. Every time you push past hesitation, every time you say yes instead of no, every time you take one more step, you build it. You strengthen it. You claim it as your own. So ask yourself, what is one thing you've been avoiding because you don't feel confident enough? Do it anyway. Speak up, send that message, take that class, apply for that role, start that project just once, then again tomorrow, and the next day, because confidence isn't a feeling, it's a habit. And once you start building it, nothing can stop you. You are not waiting anymore. You are becoming. And with every action, you prove that you are ready right now, exactly as you are. You are not behind. You are exactly where you need to be right now in this moment on your path. But comparison tells you otherwise. It whispers that others have gone further, moved faster, achieved more. And when you listen, you feel smaller, less capable, less worthy. But here's the truth. Comparison is a lie dressed up as motivation. It doesn't push you forward. It keeps you trapped in a cycle of self-doubt, longing, and frustration. Because no matter how far you go, there will always be someone ahead of you. And if you measure your progress against them, you will never feel like enough. Psychology reveals something powerful. Social comparison weakens self-esteem and fuels dissatisfaction. It steals your joy, distracts you from your goals, and convinces you that success is a race with a finish line you may never reach. But real growth is not about beating others. It's about becoming better than you were yesterday. It's about showing up for yourself, staying consistent, and honoring your own pace. Because everyone moves at a different speed. Everyone faces different obstacles. And the only person you should be measuring yourself against is the version of yourself you were last week, last month, last year. Ask yourself, what does comparison truly give you? Does it inspire action, or does it leave you feeling paralyzed? Does it fuel determination, or does it make you question whether your efforts even matter? If it brings anything other than clarity and motivation, it is doing more harm than good. And if that's the case, it's time to shift your focus, to stop looking sideways and start looking inward. Your journey is yours alone. The setbacks you've faced, the lessons you've learned, the strength you've built, none of it fits into someone else's timeline. And that's okay, because what matters isn't how fast you move. What matters is that you keep moving, that you stay committed, that you trust the process even when results don't come instantly. Every step you take, no matter how small, is still progress. Every effort, no matter how imperfect, still counts. And every lesson learned through struggle still shapes you into someone stronger. So today, make a choice. No more measuring your worth by someone else's highlight reel. No more letting their success diminish your own. No more wasting energy wishing you were them instead of embracing who you are. Focus on your own lane. Celebrate your own wins or build your own life, because the moment you stop comparing yourself to others is the moment you begin to truly grow. You are not behind. You are not too slow. You are not too late. You are simply on your path, and that is more than enough. So keep going, not because you're trying to catch up, but because you know deep down that you are becoming someone worth becoming. And that, more than anything, is what truly matters. You are not defined by how hard it feels right now. You are defined by what you keep doing anyway, because effort is not a sign of weakness. It is proof of strength. Every time you push forward when everything inside you wants to stop, every time you show up even when progress feels slow, every time you choose discipline over distraction, you are building something powerful. You are building consistency. And consistency is the quiet force that changes everything. Motivation fades, inspiration fades, even willpower has its limits. But consistency is what remains when everything else disappears. It is the difference between those who dream and those who achieve, or between those who start and those who finish, between those who give up and those who become unstoppable. Because greatness is not born in dramatic moments. It is built in the small daily choices no one else sees. The choice to wake up early, to do the work, to keep going when quitting feels easier. That is where real transformation begins. Psychology proves this through the concept of habit formation, the idea that repeated actions shape identity. At first, change feels forced, uncomfortable, like you are pretending to be someone you're not. But with time, as you continue showing up, something shifts. What once felt unnatural becomes normal. What once took effort becomes automatic. And eventually, you stop forcing yourself because you have become the person who simply does the work. This is why intensity never beats consistency. A single day of perfect effort means nothing if it isn't followed by another. A week of pushing hard but burning out accomplishes less than steady daily movement, because growth compounds. One small action leads to another, then another, then another. And over time, those tiny steps build into massive results. This is how ordinary people achieve extraordinary things, not through bursts of motivation, but through relentless, unwavering consistency. So ask yourself, what one thing can you do every single day, no matter how small, that moves you closer to the life you want? Not someday, not maybe, not after you feel ready. Now, today, tomorrow, the next day. Build the habit, strengthen the pattern. Let consistency become your greatest asset, because you don't need to be perfect. You don't need to be inspired every day. You don't need to wait for the perfect moment. You only need to keep going, even when it's hard, even when you don't see results, even when it feels like nothing is changing. Because consistency doesn't announce itself. It builds silently beneath the surface until one day everything shifts. And when that day comes, you won't wonder how you got there. You'll know, because you showed up every day, even when it hurt, even when you doubted, even when no one was watching. And that is what made all the difference. So keep moving, keep choosing forward, keep building. Because consistency is not just a habit, it is the foundation of an unstoppable life. You are standing at the edge of change, and everything inside you knows it. You've heard the lessons, felt the fire, seen the path stretching out before you. But now comes the hardest part, taking the first step. Because knowledge without action is just theory. Inspiration without movement is just noise. And desire without decision is just dreaming. And if you keep waiting for the perfect moment, the fear will never leave you. It will stay right beside you, whispering doubts, feeding hesitation, convincing you that maybe tomorrow would be better. But tomorrow never comes with more certainty than today. It only brings new distractions, new excuses, new reasons to delay. So ask yourself, how much longer will you wait? How many more chances will you give yourself before you finally begin? Because here's the truth. The life you want will not build itself. The version of you that you imagine stronger, bolder, unstoppable will not appear simply because you wish for them. That person is not waiting to be discovered. They are being built, one choice at a time, one action at a time. And the only place they can start becoming real is now. This is your moment, not someday, not after you figure everything out. Now, this is the point where you stop consuming motivation and start creating it, where you stop analyzing every detail and start moving forward despite uncertainty, where you stop letting fear decide your direction and start claiming your own power. Because courage doesn't come from knowing everything. It comes from choosing to go anyway, or from deciding that what you want matters more than how you feel in this exact second. So take the step. Whatever it is, do it now. Send that message. Make that call. Start that project. Remove that distraction. Write that one page. Do the 5-minute workout. Take the smallest possible action toward the life you truly want. Because momentum begins with motion. And once you start, something shifts. Your brain no longer sees you as someone who talks about change. It starts seeing you as someone who makes it happen. And once you make that shift, nothing can stop you. Because action builds belief. Belief builds confidence. Confidence builds habits. Habits build identity. And identity builds an unstoppable life. You don't need to know the entire path ahead. You only need to take the next step, then the next, then the next. And with every move forward, you prove to yourself that you are capable, that you are committed, that you are becoming. So don't look back at this moment wishing you had started sooner. Make this the moment everything changed. Or make this the moment you chose yourself. Chose growth, chose action, chose the life you deserve. And once you begin, keep going, no matter how slowly, no matter how imperfectly, just keep moving. Because transformation doesn't require perfection. It only requires you to begin. And once you do, everything changes.